I was tricked, I realized as I sat in the dark closet, leaning against the doors that wouldn't budge no matter how hard I pushed. I had been stupid, and this was my punishment. Playing 7 minutes in heaven had sounded like a good idea at the time. I had no real reason to suspect they'd lock me in here alone, but in retrospect, I should have known better. I wasn't a popular kid, but I thought I was good enough at flying under the radar to avoid getting viciously bullied up until that point. Heck, I couldn't even say there was anything overly malicious about what they had done. It was kind of my fault. I made the mistake of taking a bathroom break near the end of a round, giving them a prime opportunity to play a little prank on me. Yeah, now that I think about it, it really was my fault. They had no idea what was going to happen when Trevor, our host, playfully shoved me into the closet, telling me she was waiting for me. I hadn't even had time to see who was missing from the room to know whose lips I'd be kissing before the world went dark. I believed there was someone there with me, up until the moment I reached out and swiped my arm around, meeting nothing but thin air and curtains of fabric hanging from above. I could hear my classmates snickering on the other side of the door. "Real funny," I grumbled, giving the door a firm kick. "Come on, let me out." I heard fake kissing sounds as a response. 7 minutes. I was going to have to last 7 minutes alone in the dark. Maybe more if they decided that my torment was fun enough to continue longer. It wouldn't have been so bad if I had my phone on me, but we had used them to select the couples. We had all put our phones on a lazy Susan, spun them around, and picked 2 at random. Whoever the phones belonged to, girl or guy, had to get locked up together, with no light and nothing to use for entertainment. I sat there quietly and sighed. It took a minute or two for my eyes to adjust to the darkness, and when they did, I spotted what looked like someone sitting in the far corner, behind all the coats hanging there. Even then, I wasn't entirely sure it was a person. The silhouette could have very well been a vacuum cleaner for all I knew. Until I saw 2 gleaming eyes staring back at me. Insert mini heart attack here. "Oh shit, you scared me," I said, laughing with equal parts stress and relief. "I'm glad I'm not alone here. Why didn't you say anything?"
"Not alone,"
she repeated. Her voice was soft, sensual, and deep. Kind of like a really sexy piano teacher or a nurse. Who did it belong to, though? Katie? Anna? Crystal? No, they all sounded much younger. I ran through the names and faces of the other party guests, but none of the voices matched the one I had heard. "Who are you?" I asked.
"Who are you?"
She asked back. "Curtis," I replied. "Are you in our class?"
"Curtis,"
she whispered. The way she pronounced my name made me break out into goosebumps. It was so sensual and mysterious. She was almost like the female version of this one guy in this horror podcast I really dig. I can't remember his name though. She had that same soft, breathy tone to her. A tone that made me weak in the knees and grateful for being locked in there. Maybe she was ugly, but she didn't sound like it. To me, she sounded like an angel. "Want to make out?" I asked her bluntly. There was just something about her that made me come out of my shell. And besides, that's why we were in here, wasn't it?
"Make out,"
she whispered back at me. I could hear her shuffling, her eyes staring me down like a cat in the night. Even as emboldened by the darkness as I felt, I didn't make a move towards her. I sat with my back against the wall, watching her silhouette crawling closer and closer to me. I had never kissed a girl before, but if there was ever a time to do so, it was now. She placed a cold hand on my arm and leaned closer to my ear, whispering,
"Curtis."
I could feel her breath against my skin. It was hot and humid like a summer day without a breeze. Her fingers squeezed my forearm tightly. Something rough like sandpaper brushed against my cheek and down towards my lips.
Make out.
She whispered again. Who was I to say no? I closed my eyes and turned my head to meet her lips. They were coarse and dry, but I didn't really care. The kiss was amazing regardless. A great first time, you know? And since I couldn't see her face, I could imagine whoever I wanted in her place. Melissa. 3 seats diagonally from me in science class. That's the face I imagined pressed against mine at that moment. But then, there was a noise outside the door. Whatever they had put in front of it to lock me in was being removed. Not yet, I thought. Things were just getting juicy. I could tell whoever was in there with me felt the same way, because her grip on my arm tightened even more. It was almost painful now. Not unlike my pissed off mom trying to drag me away from something. But, before I even had time to demand she let me go, the doors opened, and light came flooding in. "What the hell are you doing, freak?" asked Trevor. The pressure against my arm was gone. I had my tongue out, and was leaning over thin air. I would have died of embarrassment if I hadn't been so terrified. Because, you see, in the split second before the doors fully opened and my mysterious makeout partner disappeared, I caught a glimpse of what she looked like. Gray skin, sunken eyes, bony, hair barely clutching to small patches of flesh on her skull. There was nothing sexy about her. I tried to explain what happened, but they didn't believe me. I couldn't really blame them because all they had seen was an empty closet. I might have been forever labeled some weirdo freak, if not for one thing: the bright red handprint on my forearm. Well, 2 things actually. The fact that Trevor went in after me to prove it was no big deal, and he never came back out again.